before. I'm the ordinand. What that means is I am training for ministry, God willingly. Please hold me in your prayers. Today I'll be reading from the book of Ruth, chapter 4, verses 1 to 12. And you can find that on page 269 in our church Bibles, the red ones. 269. Chapter 4, verses 1 to 12. Meanwhile, Boaz went up to the town gate and sat there. When the kinsman redeemer he had mentioned came along, Boaz said, "Come over here, my friend, and sit down." So he went over and sat down. Boaz took 10 of the elders of the town and said, "Sit here," and they did so. Then he said to the kinsman redeemer, "Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to her to our brother Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, do so. But if you will not, tell me, so that I will know. For no one has the right to do it except you, and I am next in line. I will redeem it," he said. Then Boaz said, "On the day you buy the land from Naomi, and from Ruth the Moabitess, you acquire the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property." At this, the kinsman redeemer said, "Then I cannot redeem it, because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it." Now, in earlier times in Israel, for the redemption and transfer of property to become final, one party took off his sandal and gave it to the other. This was the method of legalizing transactions in Israel. So the kinsman redeemer said to Boaz, "Buy it yourself," and he removed his sandal. Then Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, "Today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth, the Moabitess, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from the town records. Today you are witnesses." Then the elders and all those at the gate said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the house of Israel. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem. Through you, the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman, may your family be like that of Perez, who Tamar bore to Judah." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. May I speak in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. So today, as I mentioned, we're looking at this passage. And we can find that there's a transaction taking place between Boaz and some inheritance. It's quite a strange passage, because in order for a land to be redeemed, it means that whoever decides to buy the land has to not only take on Naomi's family name, but he has to marry Ruth as well, who is a Moabitess. And then on top of that, the Levitical law is that any inheritance that is gained, the family guardian redeemer has to then share that inheritance with any offspring that Ruth has. So clearly there's a process happening here. And it's quite important for us to recognize that Boaz is honoring that process. And that's what I love about this passage, that the kinsman redeemer of Naomi's family handles this business with such elegance and wisdom. So today I'll be taking some time to look at this process and see what that means for us today. I have to admit, when it comes to my personal life, I struggle with processes. Because often, I want the result immediately. I mean, I want to be able to go to the gym, work out for 20 minutes, and then be able to shed off all the Christmas weight instantly. And when I'm studying, I want to be able to read a book, comprehend it, and be able to write an essay within an hour. It sounds impossible, but a girl can dream, right? But my biggest shock is when I started training for public ministry. I had no idea how much paperwork would be involved. I quickly learned that the Church of England loves a form. So what I'm saying is, there's obviously a process for everything. So you can imagine waiting is not a skill that comes naturally to me. That's what I'm saying. But also, life has taught me that even though I struggle with being patient, I've come to appreciate that there's a significance, and it's important to honor the process, but also, most importantly, to enjoy the process. And in today's passage, we see that there's an order to things. Now, in order to understand what's actually happening, let's go back a few chapters and learn about Naomi's story and why her land is on offer. So Naomi's from Bethlehem, and she married a man called Elimelech, and they're both from the tribe of Judah. They had two sons called Kilian and Mahlon, but due to a famine, Elimelech decided to move the family away in search of a better life. So they left Bethlehem. And so their children, Mahlon and Kilian, ended up actually marrying outside of their family. And so the women that they ended up marrying were from the land of Moab, and the Moabites were regarded as foreign people to God's people. So, to put it lightly, they were also regarded as being people who were most likely to worship idols and to be classified as pagans. So you can imagine the mixing of the two would create some sort of contention. And so, following the marriages and moving out of the town that they were raised in and brought up, tragically, the three men in Naomi's life had passed away. She had lost her husband, and then she lost her children. So then she was left with these two daughter-in-laws that she had no idea what to do with, especially being a woman. So after this, Naomi looked at her estate and realized actually she doesn't have anything left in this place. So the best thing for her to do was to go back home. So for her to leave the land of Moab and go back to Judah, to Bethlehem. Now Naomi encouraged Orpah and to Ruth to go back to their families, because again, she couldn't provide anything. She didn't have anything to give. Orpah decides to listen to Naomi, but then Ruth is so determined that she didn't want to leave Naomi's side. So she doesn't. She ends up going back to Bethlehem with Naomi. And through all of this, you can imagine, here it is, such tragedy has happened, the grief, the loss that they must have been mourning and experiencing. They've got nothing to their name, especially as women trying to find work. That was going to be really difficult for them. And the pressures that they must have felt, the vulnerability, also the experiences that they might have been exposed to. But under the Levitical law, Ruth was able to glean the fields. What that means is landowners were obliged to leave the ends of their fields to those who didn't have any, who didn't have much, who were poor, who were on the margins. So by God's grace, Ruth ended up gleaning Boaz's field. But Ruth didn't know that Boaz was Naomi's family's kinsman redeemer. And again, you can imagine with everything that Naomi was experiencing, Naomi had forgotten that Boaz was there in the area. To the point she ends up giving her name, she ends up calling herself Mara, which means bitter. But then after some time, Ruth continues to go back. She gleans Boaz's fields day in, day out. She's such a hard worker, to the point where she finds favor with Boaz. And Boaz says to his people, leave her alone, make sure nobody touches her, actually make her work a bit easier, drop some grain for her so she could pick it up, and so she can feed herself and Naomi. So clearly he was really kind to her. And after some time, as Naomi's watching this relationship grow, Naomi does something quite out of the ordinary. She actually helps to set up some sort of nighttime situation between Boaz and Ruth. She tells Naomi, go put on your favorite dress, go put on a bit of perfume, and then in the middle of the night, wait and sit at the feet of Boaz. So she listens. She goes. She's like, okay. She goes. She does everything that Naomi tells her. And she sits there patiently waiting. And then all of a sudden, Boaz wakes up. It's in the middle of the night. You can't really see what's going on. Again, you can imagine there's probably not like floodlights or anything. And he wakes up and he's like, who's there? And then Ruth said, it's me. And then she basically, from what I understand, proposes to him. She says, cover me. And what I find remarkable in this is that he says to her, I'll cover you, but also take these provisions. So he abundantly provides all of this wheat and grain and puts it in these shawls and sends it back to Naomi. And then in the morning, the first thing Boaz does is he goes straight to the town, to the city gates, because that's where all the official business was held. Now again, for me, that's remarkable because clearly you can see that he's a man of integrity. He didn't take the matters into his own hands. Boaz clearly honors the cultural process. And through him, we can see that he's the perfect picture of Jesus. Even though in today's passage we then find that clearly there's another relative in line before Boaz. He ends up making sure that he honors the process, that he doesn't take advantage of Ruth there and then in the nighttime, that he goes in the morning and he waits at the city gates, waiting to discuss the matter with the other relative in front of others. So this is quite a public event. But then what we find is, when he addresses the other family kinsman redeemer, the relative then responds and says, I can't redeem it because it may endanger my own estate. And in response to that, he takes off his sandal and he gives it to Boaz. And again, this is a really weird thing. You're taking off your shoe and you're giving it to somebody else. Contextually, obviously, that was a time where official paperwork and documents hadn't been a thing yet. So that was a way of saying, hey, I can't because it's going to affect me. I will not tread on this land. Took the shoe off. You have it. You take it. You tread on it. I will make sure that I won't. So that was the transaction. That was a contractual agreement of saying, it's not, I give up my rights. And in response, Boaz, he was very clever how he did it. He turned up at the gates. He waited to speak to the family, the next person in line. He didn't mention it straight away that the next man would have to marry Ruth. And so it was the steps that he took, really small steps. He wasn't pushing, there was none of that. And on top of honoring the process, he also handles things really well, recognizing the sensitivity required for Naomi's inheritance and the family lineage that he's about to take on. Boaz counted the cost. And what I'm saying is, so did Jesus. Jesus knew what it would take, but he continued to carry out the work. He endured all of it on the cross. He died, he rose again. And because of this, honoring the process, he's now seated at the right hand of the Father. In this passage, we realize that God looks at our character, both through Ruth's faithfulness and from Boaz's obedience. We can take encouragement knowing that God doesn't look at what we deserve, or what people say about us, or the value that others put on us. Instead, God thankfully honors faithful character with redemption. And at the end of this chapter, which actually closes the book of Ruth, it's only 4 chapters long. If you haven't read it, please give it a go. At the end of this chapter, it tells us that Ruth and Boaz end up having a son. And that son's name is Obed. Obed then has a baby, who then has a baby, who then has a baby. And then about 7 babies later, we find King David. So that's what we find when we go forward. But if we go back, if you haven't read about the story of Tamar and Judah, give it a go. You think the Bible is boring? I assure you it is not. And that's where we find with Tamar and Judah, Perez. And Perez, again, has babies, sons, more sons, more sons. And then we find Judah. And then from Judah, we find, sorry, not from Judah. We find Boaz, and then Obed, and then King David. And then from King David, we find Jesus. So what I'm saying is, with all of this family lineage, even though Ruth was a Moabite, she was classified as a pagan, an outcast, a foreigner, deemed as an untouchable by society. But it was her character that affords her God's mercy and redemption into his family. Society deemed her as a second-class citizen, but the Lord offered her first place, which ultimately finds her in the lineage of Jesus Christ. So to go back to this transaction that was taking place, we can see that it was very public. And we know that Jesus' life and death was also a public event. He didn't hide through his life, his death, his resurrection. We can see that in the life of Jesus, he showed us that he was the true Redeemer, our true King, the way to salvation. But we live in a day and age where we share, it's easy for us to share about our political party. It's easy for us to share about the sports team we support and what our favorite restaurant is. But when it comes to our faith, following Jesus, we get uncomfortable telling others about it. As Christians, we're commanded for the Great Commission to go and tell others, proclaim the good news, make disciples of every nation, and to go and baptize. So we're not called into private service. We're called into a private relationship for public service. So as I come to the end of my talk, I'd love for all of us to consider, how can we all honor the process of being a Christian and demonstrate our faith publicly? And to anyone here who may be struggling with understanding this relationship, or who haven't identified as being a Christian, or who doesn't know Jesus yet, my encouragement for you is maybe to ask someone to pray for you. And for all those who do classify themselves as Christian, maybe you could offer to pray for them. Or St. Stephen's, maybe you can invite someone to church. Or maybe you could wear a piece of jewelry or clothes that just demonstrates that you're honoring Jesus. Or maybe you can be courageous enough to share the tests that you faced and share how Jesus has transformed those tests and how he's transformed your life. So from today's passage, we can be encouraged that by sharing our faith with others, we don't need to be insecure, because the work is already finished. Our insecurities are made secure in his salvation. Jesus overcame it all on the cross, and we can be faithful because he is faithful. We are redeemed because he is the way, the truth, and the life. And we can sit at the foot of the cross, just as Ruth did with Boaz, knowing that we are loved. We are so loved that the Lord will not condemn us. If anything, he honors the process. If anything, he honors us being honest. And he sends us away with an abundance of provisions. He loves us, he equips us, he redeems our sinful, unclean past and makes us new. So let's remember to keep our eyes fixed on him and publicly share our relationship with Jesus, because the tests we have faced have become the Christian God's testimonies. And it's written in the Psalms, we get to delight in them.